MSNBC and CNN are two cable news channels in big trouble. They're changing the programming, they're shuffling the deck, they're firing people left and right. Well, mostly right, if they had anybody on the right, but they don't, so they'll take left instead. Now, all that's left is rubble. Viewership in the tank. They can't bank on anyone. And today, we have the numbers. We'll show you just how bad it is on CNN and MSNBC, and you won't believe it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we as ever endeavor to explain entertainment. Keeping you ahead of the culture curve is what we do. And isn't it just nice when we hit that culture curve to have Culture Casino with us? Welcome back, sir.
Thanks for having me again, Pro. This is always super fun, especially when we're talking about things that are, in the weeds more often than not. So this will be a good time.
This is easy, folks. This is the easiest thing. We're going to get straight to it. We won't hold you. All we ask is that without delay, you click the like button and let's get on our way. This is out of the Daily Mail, and it says, more blood in the water at MSNBC as surprise ratings emerge. What are those ratings that are emerging, and what are they in terms of how bad they might be? Well, hang tight, folks. We'll show you. This is by Kelly Garino, and it says, dark days at MSNBC are far from over as more changes are set to rock the network's workforce, despite seeing double-digit rating growth across the board. Yes, double-digit rating growth. Wait till you see how low it is, and then it just doesn't matter. Like you need 6-digit growth. Oh my gosh, I can't even believe how bad it is. Anyway, what you need to know is firings are happening, okay? Roughly 125 of production roles are still to be impacted across the network's production teams. That's being reported by Matt Bellany, who he is, he's on a roll lately, eh? He's going to make lots of friends in Hollywood. It is understood there will be new opportunities to reapply for at least 110 of those affected. Yeah, I'm sure you can reapply for half the salary. Boy, won't that be fun. But here's what we need, folks. We need to know why. And by the way, this is the new president. She's Rebecca Cutler, new president of MSNBC, and she is making heads roll. Why? Well, it's not because they want to. It's because they got to. Are you ready, folks? Are you ready for the numbers? Well, if Pro can find them, here they are. We're going to skip all the way down here. Culture, you won't believe this. MSNBC. Remember, folks, it is a cable news channel. It is something that politicians go on to give their thoughts, to feed the people who will go to the polls for them. MSNBC lagged to just 45,000 viewers during the day and just 63,000 during the peak hours of night, with the Maddow experiment seemingly failing. Now, Culture, I'm gonna let you go off to the races because you know quite a bit about this and you're ready to give us more details. But I just want to say to folks what these numbers are. This is the demo. Okay, this is the 25 to 55 or 25 to 54. However, different people will measure this. Some people go up to 65. The demo, though, what it means is it's the group of people who are most likely to purchase things based on the commercials they see. They're the ones that the channels are chasing, right? I know if you're an 18-year-old watching MSNBC, they love having you, but you don't have much money in the bank account probably, so they don't care. And I know that if you're 82 years old and you're watching MSNBC, that you're a devoted followee, but you're probably not going to be buying some of the stuff that they want you to be buying. The new cars are not going out the door because you saw the latest commercial on MSNBC. They're chasing the demo. And on average, during the day, 45,000 total people are watching in the demo at any given point. And at night, it doesn't go anywhere. It's just 63,000. Culture, as you said before we got started and we were looking at this, that's basically the population of a hospital maybe, or maybe that's just all composed of people who are watching in bars, quote unquote. Tell us about it, Culture. What do you got?
Well, no, this has been going on for a while where it was originally going on with CNN. They actually purchased the contract to supply airports and hospitals with cable services and news delivery. And so that meant that they basically were buying their way into eyeballs in airports. So CNN used to have the contract. They would install the televisions and put them in all the areas and provide the cable service, but it was always tuned into CNN. So that was something that allowed CNN to maintain this crazy audience of eyeballs because they happened to be in airports. Well,
and that's because culture, the assumption is that somebody in the airport is watching the TV if the TV's on, but it's an assumption only, right? Because nobody in the airport chose for CNN to randomly be playing on the corner set, on the terminal. It's just there. It's just noise.
And they were providing that service, and they were calculating the number of eyeballs per television and all that. And that was all being factored into the ratings. And, that was one of the ways that they could keep a competitive advantage until the gig was up. And it didn't matter how many televisions they had in the airports anymore. It was not a winning proposition for them. So that kind of went away. But the same situation happened within hospitals and other places like that, where they were just buying eyeballs. And it's quite possible when you look at maybe a mid-sized city, that essentially they're buying the eyeballs that they're broadcasting to, because I don't think there's been a time where their ratings have been lower in comparison to population. And the only exception to that's Fox Pro. So it's wild.
Walk us through it, Culture. Culture, you've got the numbers. I know you have the numbers. Walk us through it, please.
Okay, so Fox News right now has an enormous audience, 3.091 million. During the prime demo hours that you want, they're rocking about 387,000 25 to 50 or 54-year-olds, the people who have money to spend, as you mentioned. And that's and then during the course of total day, they average 1.9 million and 252,000 people in the demo. Not huge numbers, but again, small city or large town, whatever you want to look at it as. So they're up. Fox News just for the month of February, just compared to January, are up 11% in total viewers and 10% across the demo. So they're doing really well. Their performance is basically well within the parameters that they've been operating in, only with small gains, which is good. If you're a news agency, that's what you want. Fox has been growing for the better part of a decade compared to the other news agencies. So MSNBC is number 2, and that network averaged a total of 1.126 million total viewers in prime time, and only about 638,000 total viewers during total day. But when you get to the demographics, and this is where it gets embarrassing for MSNBC, they only averaged 111,000 viewers in the demo, in the prime time part of the day, and only 66,000 of those were in the demo.
Good grief.
So it's even worse.
They can't afford anything, Culture. They can't afford. This is why the experiment with Maddow has been a total failure. Yeah, right.
It's a disaster. I mean, her show has not generated growth. It's proven in the numbers. Month over month, they're looking at down 16% viewers and 9% in the demo. They're losing the most valuable people almost at 10% rate year to year.
So they're at the point. They're at the point, Culture, where basically, like Jen Psaki, right? They can't afford these people. So they've either got to come, be volunteers for the local charity that is MSNBC, or they got to switch to people who nobody's ever heard of them. They're just excited to get to say, "Hey, Mom, I'm on TV," because that's how bad this is. We are down at the Science Channel. The Science Channel probably is beating MSNBC at this point. Is the Science Channel still a thing? Is it real?
I don't know. I don't know, but there are probably many that you wouldn't expect to be, winning. We don't know. I look at this and I'm watching a 25% total day loss for MSNBC year over year, and I'm looking at a 21% loss in loss relative to the demo for 2024. So it's worse. It's more catastrophic than we know. And because they're covering this month by month, it doesn't look as bad incrementally. But when you look at it as year over year or, year after year, it's a disaster.
Right. As TDS should be driving their ratings. I mean, there's nowhere for them to go. Culture, who's winning right now? MSNBC or CNN?
Depends on what area, because right now, technically MSNBC would be in, second place, but CNN during primetime has about 553,000 total viewers. About 122,000 of those are in the demo. So, if it just depends on what you're comparing to what.
Maybe a wash then.
It's real close. I mean, technically they're still in third. CNN's still in third, but they're down less as a percentage year over year, like we just talked about with MSNBC. They're only down maybe 3% comparing to 2024.
Well, take a look at this. I just want to show people, like, it's getting into mocking territory now. This is from the chief nerd, and it's an interview that Megyn Kelly did with Semafor. So let's take a look at this and what she has to say about how bad it is for CNN, and then you can extract that out to MSNBC because, as you said, it's really close. So here's what Megyn Kelly has to say in terms of ratings: legacy news channels versus the new media. Here we go.
They can't trust you that you cover the Florida that they'll have a finger in the tank. No, not at all. I mean, our numbers are huge. I know you just had CNN on. In January, last month, on their YouTube feed, they got 155 million views, and we were 146 million. Is your cost structure slightly lower? Exactly. Well, I'm just saying that's one show, Megyn Kelly show, just me and my 6 producers, versus every single show on CNN, every single thing they put on YouTube. I was there, 7 million of them. But the month of the election, remember, I beat that. I beat all of them. By the way, I beat NBC, I beat CBS, all of them, regular Sky News. November, I beat them all. All of them. ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, all of them. So I'm not having a trust issue.
All right, so there you go, culture. Megyn Kelly saying that she's within striking distance in January, and the prior months she's been beating CNN and MSNBC in terms of views on YouTube, and she's got 6 staffers, which finally we know the answer to this, right? We've wondered in the past, we've said, well, Megyn Kelly probably has a handful of people versus CNN's thousands. Well, now she's just come out and said it. 6 people plus Megyn. This is why they can't afford it anymore, culture. They can't afford this insanity, especially with USAID shutting down.
Well, exactly. Yeah. And the funniest question from the interviewer from Semafor was, so your cost difference, your cost difference is different. Yeah, it is. She's got 6 people that she has to take care of, and you have hundreds of people involved in some of these shows. And when you look at like what's going to happen when the first 100 days of the Trump administration is over, and Rachel Maddow from MSNBC goes back to just 1 day a week on Mondays, her salary is not going to change, but they're definitely going to be able to cut her staffing, and that's going to save them some money because they're going to bring in Jen Psaki, and maybe some of those people that they're letting go will make their way onto Jen Psaki's staff. But to be fair, you don't need that many people to support great news coverage, apparently, or at least get stories, put together so that you have something to present people. And with the numbers we're talking about with Megyn Kelly, what she's able to do with her YouTube channel, she doesn't even have the benefits of the revenue coming in to support all of that. She just does her show, she kicks their butt, and she goes on with her day. And look, it's not just her. I mean, if you want to go back to the cable news side, News Nation's having double-digit growth right now in total day users. They're going up 21%, 10% in the demo versus a year ago, versus 2024. You look at year-to-year over year comparisons, and you're like, the more honest news, reputable news sources are growing, and the ones that are not reputable at all are failing. It's a fascinating thing, and all Megyn Kelly does here is prove that we are the new media. That's it. She doesn't have a trust problem at all. That was the other quote in there I loved. It's like, I'm not having a trust issue. No, you're not.
Yeah, going extinct dinosaur media is the appropriate term.
Yeah.
I want to show you, though, they're not taking this well at MSNBC, talking about the mass layoffs and the changing of the programming. During a meeting, this is when the president of MSNBC was meeting with the employees there. During the meeting, some of the angry employees demanded answers about why the show, Joy Reads, was canceled and what it meant for their futures at MSNBC. And get ready, because the answer could not have made them less happy. Cutler insisted Trump was not a factor in the decision, and the network's changes were made based on data analysis and programming strategy that she believes will best position MSNBC for the year ahead. Now, I really love this because it's not for the years ahead, it's for the year ahead. What does that mean? This is short-term Band-Aid for a bigger problem. She said the show's cancellation, one moment. She said the show's cancellation was part of a broader slate of programming changes that will be laid out on Monday. Guess what, Culture? Today is that Monday. So, ring the alarm bell. What do you got, Culture?
Oh, no. All I'm going to say is there's a reason why this is short-term thinking, because you usually want somebody, a new leader, to come in and have a long-term plan. Well, this is part of the long-term plan. This is the short version of what they have to do. They have to build a whole new news organization at PMSNBC because Comcast is jettisoning them in something called SpinCo, which includes the E channel and all these other things. So they literally are going to shoot this off into the world with CBC as its own entity, and they need a news gathering organization. They're going to need new shows. They're going to need a completely new structure. For now, this is the Band-Aid to get from
let me explain that. Let me explain that real fast, Culture, because we went a little quick. For those who are new listeners and viewers, what Culture's talking about is that Comcast owns MSNBC, and Comcast has decided, you know what? We don't really want this anymore. We don't want to touch this. We don't want it, it's icky, and we don't want it infesting any of the other things. So we're going to separate it from NBC. It has no ties to NBC News. Yes, we'll let you keep the name for now. We're going to put it in this little side company over here and kind of just send it out in the wilderness and let it be its own thing, so that when it goes under, it's not attached to us. It doesn't look like we went under or we failed. That's what you're talking about, Culture.
Exactly. Yeah. And here's the other part of that, right? What does the MS stand for in MSNBC? Stands for Microsoft. So it's like they're actually kicking Microsoft to the curb. Maybe that's not helpful either. So it's a very interesting thing. And again, this is why they're thinking this way. And look, Cutler has a great reputation. She's got a good head on her shoulders, kind of knows what she's going to have to do. But building a whole new news organization to support this, and maybe living off of some of the dregs sent over from NBC for a little while. But this is going to be a year-long transition to get this thing extricated from Comcast and amongst other channels as well. But you're seeing all these entertainment enterprises, all these media companies getting rid of their cable lines, their cable channels, because they don't seem to be long for this world. They are in and of themselves truly dinosaurs in a whole other different way.
Now, just like late night TV, when it comes to left-leaning cable news channels, this is coming to an end quickly. And folks, what you need to know is we're not trying to play this in a partisan manner, right? The new media does include stuff like the Young Turks, Pod Save America, All In Podcast. So there are these left-leaning or even farther out there left-serving new media outlets. It's not as if the new media is only constituted of the right, but it's independence. It's independence. And what that means is that the corporate narrative message that is always, coalesced and protected behind a gate, that's over. And that should elate everyone who wants to have more spontaneous, dynamic, free speech-based news and information coming out, because as long as they can't curate the message the way they want to, it means you're going to have more honest dialogue from whichever direction it comes. Now, I think in the marketplace of ideas that the sensible center, the mainstream middle, is going to win, and perhaps, based on the mood of America, even slightly to the right. I think that's the appetite right now across America, and I think those who serve that are going to do quite well inside the new media. But the new media is here, and they can't afford anymore to do what they've been doing with cable news. That is over, and corporations are going to have to rush to get in touch with how the new landscape works. Culture, I'll give you the last word where you think this is going and how long CNN and MSNBC can last.
I don't think they're going to go away entirely. I think that they will exist in some plane. They have.
Oh, I get it. That's a joke. They'll exist in airports and planes. Ha!
There you go.
Good job, Culture.
But they'll also be out there digitally, just like everything else is. And it's one of the only ways I believe they can survive is with the additional ad revenue. Because when you look at the cost analysis of advertising, the only one that makes sense to advertise on is going to be Fox News going forward, because everything else is you're not reaching very many people for your dollar, and yet the advertising spend seems to be the same. In 2022, which is probably the best data point there, right in the middle of the previous administration, that should be a low point, right? It should, because usually around the elections you have high points for advertising and advertising revenue and viewership. Well, at the midpoint you had only the midterms that would have come into play in 2022, and yet Fox had separated themselves so much in what they were earning in revenue at about $480 million in there just that year in basically the spend. Whereas you look at something like CNN, they had $882 million. They're significantly far behind, and those numbers only seem to get farther and farther. The disparity gets greater and greater between these entities and their earnings, because while Fox continues to grow, even in the down years, CNN, MSNBC, all of them, they go down, they dwindle. In fact,
wait a minute, Culture. Wait a minute. Yeah. You've messed me up, because I said I was going to give you the last word, and then you said something that I just have to weigh in on. So let me restart that. You'll get the last word after this. Culture, not only did Fox News beat them with $1.4 billion in revenue versus $800 million, but Fox News did it without the major advertisers, because Fox News has MyPillow, and CNN and MSNBC are sitting over there with, Coca-Cola and all the big brands, because they're seen. I don't know how this happens. Yes, I do, folks. I don't know how this happens, but, the left is seen as the standard and the right is seen as wackadoodle, and the corporations won't spend on it. So you've got the MyPillow guy versus Coca-Cola, who's spending more, and yet Fox News still gets $1.4 billion in revenues, because that's the disparity in viewership. Now, final word, Culture.
No, the final word here is that the distinction between the various cable news networks is dramatic. It's easily spotted, and it is, like I said before, regardless of what area you're looking at, it's a growing disparity. So moving forward, business related news will continue to grow, and that's across all of their business channels. That's not going to change much. But from the standpoint of the actual news that they want to pride themselves, they want to have the public trust them, which nobody does, by the way. Public trust has never been lower in news than it has been the last 4 years. We have one company that's just going gangbusters and doubles up the other two combined, and those other two are continuing to fall down, and they seem directionless or rudderless. And hopefully it looks like it could change for MSNBC because Cutler really does have an idea. But CNN, I think, is a loss, which is why I'm always surprised that Zaslav wants to throw more money at a digital version of CNN that he kind of put the kibosh on when they put it out right before he took over, and he killed that right away. Why he'd bring that idea back, I don't know. They can't seem to tackle regular broadcast news. I don't know how they plan on reaching out to new media and new people, because it's not working where they are. Anyway, those are my final thoughts, bro.
Culture, would you start a charity to send hundreds of MyPillow pillows to laid off MSNBC staff? I think it's the nice thing to do.
I do too. I think they'll be able to sleep better, not because of their job prospects, but because, well, it's a high quality pillow.
This channel not brought to you by MyPillow, but hey, we're not against it, and we'll take an endorsement or sponsorship any old time. All right, folks, the best sponsorship, though, is you. Click that like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment right on down below and join a community dialogue. Let your voice not be lost. Join in the digital town square. Also, get over there and subscribe to Culture Casino, and you can also find them on That Game Place as well. Subscriptions to both would be appreciated. Wow, look at that. Like magic. And folks, he is magic. Get over there and enjoy his content. You'll find it magical every day, and the good way, not the Disney kind where you kind of feel a little yucky after that pixie dust. All right, folks, until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
What are you doing?
Well, I was feeling really behind and uneducated on all the happenings in the entertainment world. So, I was trying to work out a solution, specifically around 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And, well, this is what I came to.
That's not what that means.
Oh.
But, why wouldn't you just watch Midnight's Edge on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays? And on Tuesdays, on WDW Pro's channel, you got the Pro Show, and on Thursdays, you got That Park Place with Jonas and Vash.
Jonas? That guy sucks.
Well, feel free to jump in the chat and remind him of that regularly.
I won't feel free. I am free, baby. But I think you forgot something important.
What's that?
On Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, there's something really special that happens on Florals from Under a Rock.
Ah, right.
Under a Rock, where we don't simply talk about entertainment, we actually try to be the entertainment. Which, I mean, Floral, you're actually kind of dragging the show down, you know what I mean?
Well, theoretically, you and everyone else knows now what's happening at 12 Eastern Time throughout the week.
Yep. Now, just a point of clarity. You say 12 p.m. Eastern Time that the Midnight Edge will be happening. Is Tom gonna commit to being on time?
Well, that's a fair question.
Okay.